What's happening, folks? Back with another reaction, back with some more Kate Bush. And as you can probably hear, I am not completely healthy once again, but I feel massively better than I did even as recently as 24 hours ago, and I feel a lot better than I sound, so I wanted to come back and do a few reactions, not a huge slate, but at least a handful just to ease my way back into the process. And something that I was looking forward to doing in the final batch before I fell ill and had to cut it off for a few days is a new Kate Bush album, The Red Shoes, 1993. So I was intrigued by the title. I looked up the album cover, and it's a very specific type of red shoe. It looks like a ballerina slipper, or a pair of ballerina slippers, rather. And yeah, so that gives me a visual frame for the album title. The first track is Rubberband Girl. I'm intrigued by that. Rubber band seems to be perhaps an expression of elasticity, or perhaps the way a rubber band will rebound if you pull it to a certain extent and then let it go. Indeed, I think there's like a few different metaphors you could derive from the concept of a rubber band that would be interesting as they relate to someone's life and conceptually what is happening to them. So I wonder how it might come into play here, and no doubt there will be some specific contours that would not be easy to anticipate in advance. So let's find out what Kate Bush actually has to say about it. This is Rubberband Girl from the 1993 album The Red Shoes. But elasticity, resiliency.
you.
sort of big and powerful and, you know, proceeding with some aplomb, but there was, you know, that backing spoken voice or whispered voice. It's a bit of intensity to that, and some of the brass, or, you know, maybe synth brass moments. There was like an intensity like lurking around the edges of a tune that otherwise just felt sort of you know, bright and big. So yeah, I enjoyed the sonic complexity, and then, you know, I didn't catch all the lyrics, but there were definitely some metaphors about, you know, if you were like a rubber band and you fall down, you could snap back up, and, you know, the resiliency, the elasticity of the rubber band, I do think was being used conceptually in multiple lines. But I didn't catch everything that's going on in that counting bit at the end, like 1 for this and 2 for this and 3. Like, I didn't hear enough of the line to know what that was about. But I do want to give her a big shout. Not only were Kate's normal vocals very nice and, you know, pleasant to the ear as always, but it sounded like that was her doing the like Trio Bulgarka type of singing. Like, it, you know, it felt like that was an homage to the Bulgarian, you know, folk singing that was on her previous album. So yeah, ultimately a cool opener. Not quite sure what's going on conceptually, because I didn't catch enough of the lines, but yeah, a really cool tune to kick things off, and definitely, you know, a bit of a different sound. You know, when I think about music, I try not to put things down too much to decades, because, you know, decades, you know, even within a single year of a decade, there's different flavors, there's different influences, and it's not so much about the temporal period itself. But again, this is multiple years after the previous album. It's 4 years later, so it's not just, you know, the early 90s. It's moving almost into the mid 90s. So, you know, my brain is acutely sensitive maybe to any sonic or stylistic shifts that we might hear on the album. So again, I look forward to hearing people what they have to say about this album overall, this tune. But yeah, I'm looking forward to a new Kate Bush album after going through a couple, you know, non-album tracks, which were themselves cool. And admittedly, I've been re-listening to her remix of Rocket Man, which I realize a number of people said, you know, they still think the original is the superior one, and I have no argument or contention there, but I have been re-listening to Kate's version of it. I think it's fantastic. So in any case, let me know what you think of this album opener. I will see you next time. Peace.